And we're back.
And we're back, yes. People, a game of Dan dropped an interesting game to my attention, Rainbow Mario.
Hmm.
I was saying, which is so interesting how Shigeru Miyamoto, no, Satoshi Tajiri, who made Pokemon, it's funny how he came from Sega, but he eventually, you can see how his style shifted to the Nintendo style, which Game of Dan pointed out is more exploratory. You couldn't have Pokemon on the Sega in that mindset because it's all about going slowly and exploring even though his character has the kind of attitude that you get from a character design like Sonic, because again he
Hmm.
came from Sega in the first place. I mean he started working it before Nintendo. But even though I think that's the interesting thing about him. His character has enough flair to look like a spiky head hedgehog like Sonic, but
Hmm.
some of his characters. But the world that they live in is slow and methodical as a Mario world.
Hmm. True,
Mm.
true. I see the Pokemon world is very much lent into family values and building connections. That's why people connect with their Pokemon and why they so attached to them. Right,
Mm.
yeah, I do want to show you this quickly. It's a short video on this game, and it's exactly what I was telling you about last time. Share screen. Boom. Okay, yeah. So, right, here we are. Three, two.
Look, I'm just gonna say it. Fans are better at making 2D Mario games than Nintendo. Don't get me wrong, 2D Mario games are great. They're some of my favorite games to play, but they get stale pretty quick. This is actually starting to happen back in the then they decided to merge 3D Mario's moveset into 2D. And New Super Mario Bros. Was born and it was a breath of fresh air. But that was almost 20 years ago. It's time to change it up and add some more moves. And Wonder got close with this idea with badges, but you can only have one of them at a time, and most of them kind of sucked. So the fans beat Nintendo to the punch. There's this game, Mario and the Rainbow Stars, that adds a fresh style, a crazy sense of
Wow.
options, and some of the best ideas of Switch. You get the die
Wow.
from Odyssey and can roll out of it to keep yourself
Wow, I see what you're
aside
saying.
from the happy.
Wow.
You get a star companion like Happy you can toss
Holy
around to add more puzzle
smokes.
elements to levels. Power-ups are level gimmicks instead of temporary
This is the
achievements.
best.
So many little things they added to make the game feel loved and alive. Man, just check out my full video here where I played
God damn.
myself.
I say I'm putting the YouTube short up for this. Give it down. That is incredible. I mean, I know you're saying
I
about it
say
feels wrong, but
it
it's
feels wrong because having Mario move at that speed and just that kind of fluidity of movement on a
mm,
2D game, just Nintendo hasn't done it. Nintendo doesn't do it.
mm,
So seeing
but
Mario
yeah.
play that, I mean, obviously he has his own he has the moveset from the 3D games. But the ethos of this game isn't slow and methodical. There are probably some puzzles you have to use that star throwing thing mechanic,
Mm,
but a lot of it is just traversing, which feels very like, oh, play through the level, look, do it. Even the power ups, he says, power ups aren't, you don't keep them. They're level specific. You come in, you get the power up, you finish the level, you lose the power up. It is just, just like a thing for this level, like the gimmicks for the different worlds of Sonic.
right.
So,
I mean, that's the thing. The one thing that's screaming at me though, is the way that Mario's moving, like Super Mario 64 Mario with the leap jumps, the ball bounces, and so on. I'm thinking that's a jump, man. When I played Mario 64,
Fresh style.
the yeah, one word came to mind is the word acrobat. Of course, the acrobatics of Mario. You know what I'm saying? It's just that's what makes him a jump man. And
mhm.
when you got him here doing that, I was thinking, of course, it feels like wow. It's like all of a sudden discovering, pardon the expression, but somebody who felt they're wheelchair bound suddenly feeling that they could walk. And again, thank God for when those miracles actually happen. But in this case,
Mhm.
yeah, that's I understand if I know it feels sacrilegious and all that, but at the same time, I can't deny I would not put that game down until I at least finish 5 levels.
Yeah, just one more, just one more. If they pick up a play and then like 2 in the morning can't put it
Yeah.
down, being, I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, I just discovered this before we were talking, and
Wow.
I'm already like in the background. I am trying to find a website that has a copy so I can play it today. Just give it a try.
Yeah. Please, yeah, let us know what you think
That
of it.
is will
If you
right.
share, if you play it and share it, that'd be awesome.
Will do,
Wow.
will do. Right.
Yeah.
So now jumping back to the video, we watched this fan game. It's not a fan game. It's a passion game. It's a passion game of Ocarina of Time, which more power to you. Ocarina of Time was a seminal game. It really defined not only how Legend of Zelda series continued, but also how 3D RPGs functioned. Set the
Mm.
bar, and you can't knock it. There are some musicians whose work just set the bar. Others have
Yep.
passed
Oh
it
my.
since, but we look back and we go, They were the first.
That was the benchmark.
That was nice. That was
Yeah,
good. I
he was
personally,
brilliant.
it's like we've got a lot of princesses of pop, but there's only one king.
Yeah, bro, that is just as a bar. I'm gonna use that somewhere.
I say, I do think it's funny because I was having this same conversation like a year or two ago with a mate of mine, and he went, "Oh, Bruno Mars is going to be the new king of pop." I was like,
What?
"That's ooh, ooh, ooh."
Yeah,
We've got plenty of princesses. They come and go. I mean, Disney's got a whole bevy of them, but a king of pop, there's only been one.
yeah. My
And
gosh, I mean,
to knock that crown off, I think he's on the track. Bruno Mars is a fantastic performer. His music's great. It's pick up and play. It's got empathy and emotion to it. He's even a great dancer. But King,
no
is he
way.
going
I
for
mean,
the
to be fair,
crown?
I
Because
say
if he goes for the
no.
crown, he better not miss.
Yeah, bro,
So
and that's it. And quite frankly, this what make Mike so stand apart is because he's like from bloody 5 years bloody old. And sorry, Bruno Mars is great, but nobody touches Michael's dancing. I mean, no, not nobody. Fine. Some people are like Chris Brown. I'm not again a person. I'm not really a fan of it either for the Rihanna stuff. I know it's been a while, but I
mm,
can hold a grudge. But yeah, but that Chris Brown. I mean, he's one. He's another example of what we were talking about earlier. I can when I see him perform. I put all the stuff I don't like about the guy, and I never like to see him aside from. I was like, that's a talented artist right there, and this guy can move. So when the music's over, I'm like, get away from me. But but that being said, the yeah, it's not. But still, even Chris, come on, man, you haven't put yourself through the. It's a bit. These people are organic and like Usain Bolt. It's going to take a while before you run into another one of those savants just showing up. Um, so, I mean, that being said, Bruno, all power to you, mate. But no,
I
you know
think
Michael. So,
I think
so,
Bruno is exceptional singer,
mm,
songwriter, but Michael
yeah,
was also a performer. I don't know
yeah,
whether Bruno Mars. I don't know Bruno Mars's performances of that caliber. I mean, his acting, his performance on stage, he was mesmerizing. He was incredible. I
mm.
don't begrudge. I don't want to talk about the end of his life. I just want to talk about
Oh
when he was
yeah, yeah, of
black.
course,
When he was
yeah.
black, it was amazing.
Michael Jackson still was a Simpsons line.
When he,
Oh
yeah,
my.
when he, yeah, that's basically the point there.
Mm,
For me, his career ended at his story. When he released his story and did the history tour, that was it. That was the end of his career. That was the peak of his career. It went, it had ups and downs, but
mm,
looking back at everything, that album, mm, oh
mm.
yes, please.
You wrote
That
well, man.
album was on repeat in my family car for a long time. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, man, that is it, man. His story. And all that to say, when it comes to just like with games again, when it comes to benchmarks, that's what you're talking about. Yeah. People who just
yeah.
set a standard at a certain point.
Games or performances or songs, actors, artists who set the bar.
Yeah, I mean, of course, as Bruce Lee said, he's not the strongest fighter. Of course, that'd be ridiculous. Even though people say yes, he says he's not. But some people say, you want this to. You don't want if you have a kid, you don't want your son to. Kids want to be bigger than dad, as they say, and you don't want your kid not to be bigger than dad. Also, I mean, you want to know that the kid has respect for dad, but you don't want your kid to not be able to survive in the world. If imagine everything stopped at one game, that'll be hell. I was like, what? No, and so I mean, naturally,
Mm.
I'm happy that the progression is kicked
That's
off,
not
and
hell. So for
yeah.
me,
Mm.
hell would be if companies become further more litigious and furthermore
That's another one.
patent
Oh,
friendly. Imagine if all technology was patented and held by certain individuals. We would have like one company that owned all glass and all glass work because they had the patent on making glass, and then one that was for making tin, and then others were a patent on making pots. And we could only ever have their pots because that was the only company that was allowed to make pots. It's
there's also
absurd.
the
We would
patent
have
office.
dynasties and monopolies. The
Yep.
entire world would be carved up, and we could only ever have for a product from a single organization because they have the right to it. And it's the
Well,
same with
they
video
do
games. I do not
charge.
condone patenting
Yeah,
any
yeah.
gameplay mechanics. You can't patent IP. You can't patent
Mm.
gameplay mechanics, artwork, any of these things. These are brushes in the colors in
Mm.
toolbox. Sorry, they are tools in the toolbox. They are colors on the painter's easel. They
Yeah.
allow you to paint a better picture. If I can't use red, well, there's a whole spectrum of things I can't do anymore because you've cut me off from a prime aspect.
Yeah, of course,
No,
it's not
that for
rising.
me, that's hell. That is literally
That is, yeah.
stagnation, the absolute, vice grip of control
Mm.
over technology, over creativity.
Yeah, you said it, mate. And it wouldn't be tolerated, quite frankly. There'll be uprisings, and the IP office will be destroyed. But
But we've seen people fall to stupidity, people's tribalism, people who think their tribe is doing the right thing, that they're fighting the
mm,
good fight, and then
mhm,
they're slowly and slowly but surely making poorer and poorer decisions. Nobody starts out as a Nazi. It's a gradual process. No one's starts
mm,
as a Nazi. It's
yeah.
You've got to be disenfranchised, and unfortunately, we have a lot of people who have been disenfranchised, who've been let down, who are angry that
Mm,
they haven't got control over their own life. So they're going to find a reason for why. They're going to try and blame it on someone. They're going to take steps to try and gain control. And unfortunately, it's displaced frustration. They don't have control over the life. They're
yeah.
told, oh, do this, and you'll have a good life. Work
Bloody hell,
hard,
mate.
get a job, get an education, and you should be able to buy a house and have a family.
And
Who the hell's
yeah,
buying a house these days?
that is it, mate. That's why, yeah, this has to stop. I'm just really looking forward to this shit stopping. I mean, I hate. Oh my god, it's even like people with PhDs that I hadn't been in touch with my sister for a while, but I found out she had a PhD that I didn't realize. Like, what? Congratulations! But even so, she's kind of sometimes people with PhDs have to work in academia or in colleges sometimes to get well. But I give a certain not everywhere. In the computer science department, you can of course branch out in certain companies, but even then sometimes the work you get is only truly appreciated financially in people who are keen on it, if that makes sense.
Oh no, it's absolutely true. If you specialize yourself to the point that you have either a PhD or an advanced capabilities, if you're a known figure within a community, then the only community that's going to pay you for those skills is that same community. It's,
That is it. And
if you were like a runner and you become like a nationally ranked runner,
mm,
you're going to run to make your money because that's what you're good at. And doing a PhD is an intense, long-term investment of time and energy in becoming an excellent academic. Can you translate those skills into other fields? Yeah, it's possible, but it's more likely you're just going to stick with academia because you spent so
that is,
goddamn long trying to be an academic.
you know
So,
what? The last thing I'll say about college, people say it's a bit of a scam today. Yes, yeah. I'd say is, in my opinion, I think colleges. This is why people say, was it people should join go to trade schools instead. I really like the
mm,
argument in that. I think you should go to college with a sponsorship before you even start. I mean, imagine you everybody went to college and there's like a promise of a job, even if it wasn't like your ideal job, but at least there's a promise of a job related to your field, waiting for in the other end. As a choice, as something that this is something you can do, and there's a way for you to climb the corporate ladder. And of course, there are ways to make that happen for yourself through again sticking in academia, for example. But not everybody's going to be a teacher, and but again, so many of us have gone to college, studied a degree, and we get a job in a completely unrelated field because
mm.
it's like I can't get a job or work in this gig, or what I've done is not cutting it in the real world, and I'm like that is such a makes me grind my teeth. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not what the
for
college
me,
fault. I
I never
understand.
understood why people would go to universities, go to colleges, as they call them in America, and
Yeah.
do a subject and then not put it to work. But as someone who went to college, got a degree in a subject that he loves, in film, video
Mm,
production, I tried. I did give the old college try, tried to get a
mm,
job in the field. I worked damn hard, and after I pulled the third knife out of my back, it's like, you know what? I am hemorrhaging money. I'm living in London, the capital city of Britain. It's
mm,
costing me more to live here than I am making because there are so many people fighting for so few spots. But in other industries, there's a massive deficit. And I think you're
mm,
absolutely right about trade schools, but not because,
mm.
oh, you should be guaranteed a job. I think that people should lean into their strengths. And
Yeah.
we told college is the goal. No, any
Mm,
job that you like, any job that you're comfortable with, you're good at, can be aspirational. Go for it. It's one thing I do love about Japan. I got
mm.
kids here who, from a young age, are like, "Yo, I want to be a nurse." Good for you. One went, "I want to work in the patent office," and I'm like, "Okay, let's go." And I'm like,
Oh,
"That's the thing." And I'm like, whatever they found joy or found interesting, they're like, I want to do this. But it's given the same the same kind of reverence as, say, a job that has a pedigree to it. Any job. I got kids who want to be train drivers, so they play train driving games. They read train driving magazines, and they're like, oh, big into this. And I'm like, dude, train spotters used to be weirdos when I was a kid. The only good thing that came out of that was that movie. Yeah, but no, but here, if simple jobs, menial jobs, working man jobs are given
sure.
respect because they're an
Exactly.
integral part of the community. They are
That
treated
is it.
well and they're paid well because the job is required for a comfortable society. So people
Bloody
who
hell, mate.
do the cleaning jobs, people who do the building jobs,
That is it.
we salute you, sir. We salute you
I love
because
it.
we don't without it, we don't have the stuff that we like. The office workers ain't
No,
gonna go to work if the office ain't built or clean
that is.
or functioning.
You said it,
So
mate. I know the student you're talking about who loves trains. We both know him, yeah. With his family, yeah.
but
But
yeah,
that is it. It's so
I
true.
think that trade schools should be given more reverence than university. I went into academia because that was my strength. I'm good with
Mm.
books. I'm good at the academic side. I like that. If I'm struggling with something, if I'm in an argument with someone, my first action, my default is, okay, give me a second. I'm going to grab a book and start reading about it and start doing the research. That's my
Mm.
default setting. But that's not to everyone's. My sister, I love her. Hand to God, I love her.
Mm.
I have to. She's my family.
Mm.
But she's far more emotionally intelligent. When we were growing up, she was good with people. I was good with books. I could talk my way around her. I could always out debate her, but she could pick up on things I couldn't. People didn't spell shit out. I didn't
Mm.
understand it. I could understand it once you spelled it out, but picking up on that, on those cues, on like reading the room,
Oh yeah, I know what you're
it was
talking about,
second
man.
nature to her. It was like she could read it. It's like she was speaking a second language,
It's amazing.
and I just couldn't do it. So
Intuition versus logic. Yeah.
but she didn't go into university. She would have been lost. It would have been a waste of time and money for her. But there were lots of jobs that she would have excelled in if she leant into those strengths.
Mm.
She didn't. Her life took a bit of a downward spiral after a few boyfriends, and then going to Australia, becoming a nurse.
Mm.
Good for her. She kind of rebooted her life, and I'm proud of her. She lent into those strengths. She did just enough of the
Lovely.
book stuff to get along with people. She was good at getting along with patients. That was what she was there for.
That's
And
fantastic.
kudos to her. I'm proud that she found a job, she found a passion, and she made it her life. She was able to do it. But the idea that college is the goal, no, college is
Mm.
a goal of
Yeah.
many. I'm pro university. I became a teacher for God's sake. I love school so much. I now teach it, but it's not for everyone.
Not for everyone, yeah.
It's not for everyone. Do what works for you.
Yeah, last thing I'll say is before we go to the games is I get my wife, she loves animals. She went into college for animal work and she got it. So it's like this for a reason. And we found that we play to our strengths. I mean, here I love Japan for the reason. Well, games and all is of my passion, and I came to Japan with Nintendo passion, but also as a loving teaching, not just teaching, but English, and most of all, to be completely honest with you, before I came to Japan, I needed that degree to supplement my visa application. So that's part of the reason why I said hey, that extra justification. I was thinking, oh, okay, at the end of the day, you always want people to say, oh, you don't need to go to college for that. You can figure out on your own. But I couldn't figure out how to get this visa. I mean, there are ways to get around it, but that one of the easiest ways and straightforward ways that were aligned with what I wanted to do anyway. I thought, let me do it, and here we are. So,
It's
yeah,
funny you
it's
mention that because in America, it's quite common for people not to be interested in what you studied, but the fact that you did study. That you going through the university process, going through the academic processes, even at the lower levels, isn't about specializing in a subject like it is in Britain. For us,
mm,
you're supposed to specialize in a subject from a young age,
mm,
and then really focus on getting good at that topic. Whatever topic you're doing, whatever field you're in, you start young and we get really, 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 really good at it, get granular at a young age. Whereas in America, the fact that you went to the university and you spent years and years and time and energy into studying, learning, practicing, that was evidence that you're the kind of person who can put in the time, can
mm,
learn, and can effectively implement the lessons you've learned. Like in
mm,
Japan, very few people, significantly fewer people than you would realize, go to university and then do what they did in their topic. You know, it's like you said, oh, you went to university and they didn't use it. Most of them don't. Most of them go to university to prove that they can learn, and then they go to a company, and the company then begins to teach them. The university is proof that you can learn. It's the pedigree of the school. And then when you go to it's like the salaryman in Japan. No one studies business. No one studies what their company does. They go to the company, and the company then teaches them. And you see it all the time in anime. You know, young workers who are struggling because they don't get how the company works. Their senpais are not teaching them how the office works, and then they struggle. Well, they get good teachers who come in and they're like, oh, they help their younger workers, and the younger workers get good at the job because it's like going to school. So different countries have different ethos, different ideologies behind it, but university can be just a barometer of, this is a person who's willing to invest time and energy and work into getting good at something. But it's also a means of accessing information as part of your industry. You go learn about your industry at a young age, so you can get good at that industry. There's a lot of benefits to it, but honestly, it's not for everyone. Go to trade school. You get all the best influence, and then those trade schools will put you in a job in your industry that you've been studying for, which is exactly what academics dream about. They study a subtopic, and they want a job in that industry, and most of them don't get it. So trade schools got a massive league over universities in that regard.
That's it.
Now, as I said, back to the video.
Insightful.
Right, so
yes, let's get back to it.
we've got that 10 minutes left. It's always just a bit of bunk, a few cute little wish fulfillment at this point.
Yeah.
You know, all the big videos are done. It's just like, oh, look at this. I wish this was a thing. And one funny video, funny, not funny, haha, but funny, and you will know why soon. So let's watch.
Check it out. Love that mark on the back of his shield. It's like a number 9.
GameCube is coming to Nintendo Switch.
Look at. You can see the corners where he just put the picture on the PowerPoint.
Yes. He's taking the Mickey. He's taking the Mickey.
It's not even the same white, man. It's like that's a cream, that's a white. Oh, come on.
Come on. Yeah. Yeah, man, the Mario movie when Luigi got the ringtone. Yeah.
GameCube games are being added to Nintendo Switch Online. You can play these games anywhere for the first time. Let's introduce the games that will be available at launch. Pikmin. Help Captain Olimar repair his ship.
It's already on Switch now. They've brought all the Pikmin to the Switch.
And surviving on the alien planet.
That's fantastic.
Super Mario Sunshine.
He's a visionary.
It's already on Switch. They brought a collection back.
Hot Sun
No, that is funny.
has been overrun with goop, and it's up to you to clean it up. The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker.
Not
An
on the
evil
Switch.
man found and stolen some power, using it to spread darkness until a young boy dressed in green sealed the evil.
A young boy dressed in green.
Luigi's Mansion.
Is on Switch.
Explore a
All the
haunted
Luigi Mansions are on the
finding
Switch.
Your brother. Mario Kart
Ghostbusters.
Not on the
Race through
Switch.
Wild courses with double the
Interesting.
fun.
Yep, definitely. You know, if Nintendo, maybe they were hedging their bets. Let's save some things to put on the Switch too.
You never know. But
Wario World.
every Mario Kart feels like each generation gets their own Mario Kart. Like that's the generation. There's Mario Kart for that generation. Introducing older Mario Karts on the current one might detract from the current one, you know. But we know that we're getting a new one. We do know. The only game, the only game absolutely confirmed for Switch 2 is Mario Kart, Mario Kart 9. I believe Metroid Prime 4 is going to be on Switch 2. I think if it's not, that's a massive, massive mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a Prime 2, and it's only for the Switch on its inferior hardware. Sorry, not sorry.
Big mistake. Yeah, there's no way they'll make that mistake.
No, it's going to be like a Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild was on the Wii U and on the Switch.
No,
It's got to be. It's got to be on both.
World. Make your
that game was so-so.
by completing objectives and getting all the treasures back.
It was better in 2D.
Kirby Air Ride. Wander around in a large city area.
Good game,
collect
but
as many
it's
patches
not
as
Jim.
possible.
It's just like a Kirby knockoff of F-Zero GX.
It feels a bit like Res.
To 4 players can play compatible games together locally and online.
Say that absolutely. Play like multiplayer
Yeah, I mean,
GameCube
of
games.
course. If they don't do that, they're gonna be sorry. But and do
It's
it
funny because
soon as
there
well.
are a few like GameCube games that have been re-released and you can play them on the Switch. Like, I think is Beautiful Joe been re-released? No, not yet. I think there was an announcement a while back of a
More
Beautiful
games
Joe.
will be added in the future.
Paper Mario Thousand Year Door had been remade. Metroid Prime has been remade. So
You will be required to
like
Nintendo
2 of the
Switch
6 they
Online
showed off have
membership,
already
plus
been remade
expansions
and
to play
added.
GameCube games.
This is the funny one. What do you think this is?
This is oh my god, that's Pokemon.
Well done, well done. Yes, it is. This is Pokemon Legends. But what they've
Wow.
done is totally, but should have been Snivy in the new trailer. Turn it up. Yes, he's my boy. But this is their interpretation of like the next Legends game. But we already have a new Legends game. We've got Legends X Z and A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's not bad. See, I like that it's a big environment, different terrains. You've got wild Pokemon all over.
How funny because there's a game, a Legend out right now, and I haven't seen. I mean, well, of course I've seen it, but is there any gameplay that even slightly resembles this?
In theory,
Hmm.
I mean, Legends is not visually impressive. You know, it's more impressive that the Pokemon are wandering around wild. You can see them at a
Right.
distance. Though the draw distance is terrible. You have to get up
Mm.
close before they even render in. But the idea of having Pokemon in the background, you're going across the river and then you could see on the land, oh, there are Pokemon over there. Yeah, that's new. It's not like running through the wild grass, which I do contend was a really clever way to introduce random encounters, but in a natural way. So you didn't just like walking through town and then boom, a Gyarados attacks you. No. You've got to go into the water of Gyarados field, of Gyarados pond, before you find that one Pokemon. Yeah, it makes sense. You know, go to where the wild animals are in the forest or in the grass.
Mm.
And there will be these versions are like their regional starters, which I think badass, dude. That looks awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here it comes.
Wow. That is
Like
nice and slick.
Yeah, like electric Snivy. Boom, there's a ground type for Alligator. And in the game, you have different techniques. You fast or slow techniques. What's it based upon? Kurim, the ice electric legendary. Yeah, I thought it was cute. It's a cute little video about, I'd like to see more Legends.
Yes,
but we have a new
Pokemon
Legends
game is coming to Nintendo Switch 2. Explore a wondrous world filled with countless types of Pokemon. Travel
My
and search
gosh.
for Pokemon to catch.
What do you think, Game? Do you think anything of this direct would impact or influence what we eventually see?
Now, please take a look
Maybe.
at this.
Maybe there's 1 or 2 I think might.
That's not
We've
being
had the
quiet.
3D All Stars.
I'm just thinking in my mind about could this actually happen?
That was a really good game. And Super Mario 3D Land was like this weird 2D style level, like leveled, structured. But each level was with these tiny little microcosm of 3D environments. But turning on the slider really helped with the jumps and the depth perception. Very clever.
Oh,
so this is a 3DS game. And a good one. A really good one.
Was that Shendon?
Kind of. That's Mario Galaxy.
It's funny because what he's doing is he's just showing games that already exist.
He showed at the beginning. He showed that there was a 3D Super Mario 3D collection, 3D All Stars, which had Super Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy all on one cartridge, and it was for a limited time release, which is absurd. That's a game. That just give us the game. People would always want to play those games. But they needed a bit of a cash injection, so they released it, and boom. Now, admittedly, they were all just ports, and not even good ones. You can get these ports on other places better, but they're all on the Switch. They all played functionally well. Great. And admittedly, I went back and I played Sunshine again because it's one of my favorites. But the idea of having another All Stars, but with this time with 3DS games, we got Galaxy 2, sure, but 2 notably 3DS games. It's like we said last time, it's the idea of leaning the Switch into multi-screen and having it be able to play 3DS games with 2 screens. In 3DS, there is a massive library of beloved games, but it fundamentally doesn't play. You can't play it on anything because you need a touch screen at the bottom and you need a decent screen at the top.
This is it. This is the plan. We figured out. Sorry, let me hit my air. 1 second, my air conditioner.
I think
that's the plan. I think that's the plan.
I think this is one of the arguments that I think that they should really give consideration. We have had nothing from Nintendo, and if they didn't do anything, I wouldn't begrudge them. But I do think that they are one of the few companies that really tries to keep their old games alive. People want to play their old games. They are bringing them back, and if they did, oh man, they could do an entirely new tier of the Nintendo online service and charge for it. Just give us like the DS and 3DS games. Don't even have to do a lot of them. Just like the big greatest hits. But people will pay through the nose for it. It's the shut up and take my money meme. Writ large, So I think that having a new 3D All Stars or 3D All Stars 2 with 3DS games might not be a bad idea. And it's also like introducing GameCube games to the online service. I think that's a very reasonable thing that they could do. They're working their way forwards. They keep adding and building out the number of games that they have the license to. They've got to argue it with the companies. They've got to get the rights to do it. But if they lean into games that they have the rights to themselves, your Marios, your Metroids, your Zeldas, I think GameCube games on the Switch too. Absolutely, because it will be the Switch 1, maybe not, because you're emulating, and emulating is an intensely difficult thing for a processor to do. It takes a lot of RAM to emulate well, because you're not using the device for its intended purpose. So you're basically creating a second machine. The computer is simulating a second machine itself. So imagine, your Switch trying to play a console inside itself. It would blow up. But a Switch 2, there is more than enough RAM, enough processing power there. You could do the heavier games.
maybe a touch of AI as well to give it a bit of
To polish it
consistency.
up, to smooth over some of the things. But yeah, absolutely. I think there's enough oomph behind that engine, enough horsepower that they could do it. I think that's what kept you do simple games before. It was just Game Boy and SNES.
Mm.
So yeah,
So
the only two things about the video that I think, yeah, actually pan out. These are good ideas that might play out.
I'm convinced. I'm convinced. When the video finishes, I'm gonna have to. We have to do one last reporting after because it's gonna cut in 4 minutes.
Oh sure, yeah, okay. That's
Should we reload from now? Or?
the last thing is just Splatoon, but I don't play it. Do you play Splatoon?
I always love Splatoon. Yeah, both my
Really?
kids. Yeah, but I think we're both. I'm sure both of us have students who are crazy about Splatoon. Not to mention Professor Suzuka. So
True,
she's
that's
actually
true. I will say it. They've been announced a new Splatoon, so
four
I think, yeah. Oh
crumbs.
no, no, sorry, I'm thinking of this. This is the four.
Oh,
Right, so that's 2 minutes. But their version of Splatoon 4.
shoot. Oh, right, of course, right. You got me for a second.
Sorry, I got myself for a second.
Yeah, man. I think as you were saying, Splatoon is when Nintendo realized that we should have done more shooters since we kicked out Rare and GoldenEye. But
I think they had to find their own hook, and the paint mechanic, the painting the territory to be more accessible to you. That's brilliant. They had to find a hook, and they got a good one with it.
yeah. I wish I was. My God, it's still my dream to work with Nintendo, man. I just love to be in the staff room with the people putting this. I mean, because I've made games with teams before, and it can be a hell job. But if you're passionate about games, it's heaven. It's just like being a chef. It's like if you hate if I mean being in I don't know if you worked in the kitchen before, but when it gets really busy in there, it's a nightmare. I mean, I've been at McDonald's, and my manager was like, people getting
Brutality of a big, a big, massive kitchen that has dealing with many people. Man, that's hard, long, sweaty work. But
yeah,
you
but if
like
you love
cooking, man, it's very rewarding.
exactly same with game development, it could be mad. I mean, especially when the computer is not doing what you want it to do, and then you got
Yeah,
people who want to get all autistic with you. I start disagreeing with things. This is wrong. It's calm down, right? It's like bloody hell. But yeah, okay, here
yeah.
we go. We've got one
So
minute. Shall we,
last week and this week, we've been watching this faux Nintendo Direct, and honestly, it's been really rewarding. It's been nice looking at some of in people's ideas, what games matter to them, what games that they want to see back, and we're seeing a lot of older games. A lot of this has been like, yo, because the next in the series, bring back some of these older games, because Nintendo's a company that has a long pedigree. The games they've done have been tentpoles, have been benchmarkers, setting the bar. They've produced a lot of great games. They've made some poor decisions, true, but they're a good company.
for sure. Yeah, madam. Well, what should we do? Should we load up a last 5 minute goodbye after this one?
Yeah, we'll go. We'll have part three, just a short part three where we want to just
Okay.
do. I want to recap some of the news of the
Yeah,
day
me too.
and just kind of say goodbye.
Okay, I'll catch you soon, people. Three, two,
Part three.
one.